So today we're going to start on the 4 attributes of true paths. So when it comes to describing true paths, there's some difference between the Pali tradition and the Sanskrit tradition. In the Pali tradition, it's the Eightfold Noble Path, okay, which maybe we'll get to later because I think it would be good to go through that briefly so people know that. And that's, of course, included in the Sanskrit tradition. But when we talk about what the true path is from the Prasangika viewpoint, it's the wisdom directly realizing the emptiness of inherent existence. Okay, so of course it's built on all, everything else that is included in the Noble Path, okay? It also includes the pratimoksha, if I remember correctly. Yeah, so our monastic vows are considered true paths as well. And, and like I said, everything in the Eightfold Path is included in the Sanskrit tradition, but the real emphasis is on the wisdom realizing emptiness, because that's the actual one that is going to cut the root of samsara. So there are 4 attributes of the path, of true paths. So the path is one, suitable. One has awareness, one has suitable. So I have to check the Sanskrit and see which it is. I think it's awareness. Accomplishment and deliverance. No, one is suitable and one is awareness. Yeah, but the thing is that the Tibetan term is rigpa. So rigpa with a sa suffix means something different than rigpa without the sasa. I think that's what it is, yeah, if I remember correctly. And so I finally found the Sanskrit. So let me look what the Sanskrit is, okay? Because, when you just hear rigpa, you don't know whether it has a suffix or not, and some editions, even in the written form, have it and some don't. Okay? So the first one is the wisdom directly realizing selflessness is the path, because it's the unmistaken path to liberation. Okay, so the idea here is that this is the wisdom that actually leads to liberation. It's the unmistaken path. And so that counters the wrong idea that there is no path to liberation. And if we look around society, and remember, the same happened with true cessation. Some people, the first attribute was indicating that true cessations do exist. If you look around, many people, the view of life is just, this is it. Yeah, there's no way out of it. They're not really even aware of what they're in. There's no way out of it. There's no path out of it. So let's just make the best of it we can and see if we can remain as happy as we can, and that's it. And that becomes the whole purpose of the life, yeah? Whereas when you have some awareness that true cessation does exist, nirvana exists, and that the path to it also exists, then the whole purpose of your life has a totally different meaning, doesn't it? Yeah, because when you see, okay, we're in a really big jam being in cyclic existence, we have a precious human life, this opportunity to really make some progress and try and get out of it, yeah, and there's a path to follow, then we'll put our energy into that path. Yeah. And so when we have that strong in our mind, then it really, it begins to overpower the laziness that leads us to sleeping too much, to getting distracted by meaningless things, the news and so on. I mean, you have to keep informed, but the compulsion to read the news. And also discouragement, and how we waste our time just, feeling sorry for ourselves and I can't do anything, and anyway, there's no path, and what's the use, and it's all hopeless, and So when you really have some view that there is a path out, then, when you really believe that, then it's going to come in direct conflict with the tendency to laziness. Yeah. So, so that's going to work well. Okay. If we don't think there's a path, then we'll never learn it, we'll never practice it. Nothing really changes. Should we do the second one? Yeah. Second one is the wisdom directly realizing selflessness is awareness, because it acts, or it could be suitable, because it acts as the direct counterforce to the afflictions. Okay, so this wisdom, realizing selflessness, is the correct path, because it's a powerful antidote. Yeah, so it could be suitable because it's a powerful antidote. It could be an awareness that isn't a powerful antidote. So I'll look up the term. Because it directly counteracts ignorance and the other afflictions. Okay, so since ignorance is the root of samsara, we need something that directly counteracts it, not something that just chips away at it a little bit, but something that punches it in the nose. Okay, so yeah, so we need something strong like that. So this eliminates the idea that that the wisdom realizing emptiness is not the path to liberation, because some people may think, well, there is a path, but it's not the wisdom realizing emptiness. Yeah, it's the path of praying to God or propitiating protectors, or there's so many different paths from all the different religions. Yeah, and so if we're not sure about the wisdom realizing emptiness being the path, then it's easy to get distracted by all these other paths. Yeah, some of which, emotionally may make you feel better, just the idea of them. Yeah, it's like, I just worship God and you leave it all to God and I don't need to do anything, and except worship. And for some people that makes them feel so much better, For me, it drove me crazy. But yeah, I couldn't do that. But for other people, it's just, yeah, but then you follow that path, but where does it get you? Because that kind of path is not the direct antidote that is going to obliterate ignorance. We need something that's the complete opposite of ignorance. Okay, so when we have confidence that this is the correct path, then of course we'll be eager to practice it. And of course, as we know, generating the wisdom realizing emptiness is no small feat, and it takes a lot of study, and then thinking about what we've studied and putting it into practice and meditating on it. And the study itself is not, kind of easy. You have to learn all these new vocabulary words that you've never heard of before, and all these concepts that you've never heard before. And then you have to hear these, great sages debating each other over points that you have no idea what they're talking about. But it's all for a purpose. So if you really believe, have confidence this is the path that's going to overcome your ignorance, then you'll stick with the studies and you'll do them, and you realize that it takes some time, so you go slowly, slowly, slowly. But as you go slowly, just like the turtle, and so eventually we'll get there. Whereas if we don't think that this is the real path, then we say, well, why learn all that stuff? It's too difficult, it's too complicated, I'll never understand it anyway. So let's just say some mantra. Yeah, and that's what many people in the tradition do. They figure, that stuff is for the professionals, and I'll say mantra, and then you're all, you have a precious human life in which, even if you don't understand everything completely, you can certainly put so many good imprints and seeds on your mind stream, but you miss that opportunity. Okay? So this wisdom knows also the faults of the afflictions. It knows how ignorance is a wrong consciousness, and it knows the correct way to apprehend phenomena. So it's a wisdom that we can trust. And if we develop it inside, then, we can really trust it, because we'll see how it works.
That first point really struck me because my neighbor that I used to live next to used to notice that I would get moody, and she would cheer me up by saying something like, well, this is as good as it gets. And it worked for her, and it was helpful for me in the sense of she was very caring, and I needed to kick myself in the pants. But what I was realizing as you were speaking is that view of this is as good as it gets really wouldn't help me with aging, sickness, or death. Like that. What would I do with those? And that's kind of what we're confronted with. And whereas this path, actually, you can use all of those things.
Yeah.